Now we've explained the hood. Now we're moving on to the trunk section. We're walking towards the back of the vehicle. Usually there's an opening button here. We press it and open the trunk. The trunk lid. Now, this red bag you see here, we call it a traffic kit. In other words, it contains first aid supplies and many other items. I'll tell you what they're used for and where you can use them. I recommend that you have 1 or 2 reflective vests in your vehicle, like the yellow vest you see here, in case of a breakdown, an accident, or any situation where you are less visible at night or even during the day. It's very important to wear your reflective vests so that other road users can notice you. You can get 1 or 2 of these from anywhere that sells work equipment. This is important. Where is the wheel chock used? Well, let's quickly show that entire process right now. We carefully place the vehicle's wheel chock directly in front of the tire, just like this, to effectively prevent the vehicle from moving in any way whatsoever. It can actually be anything, really. It could be in case of a breakdown. Or when your tire goes flat, we can say it's a safety system to prevent the vehicle from rolling. That's how a wheel chock is used. We also have 2 reflectors. Now, let's talk about these reflectors as well. As you can see on them, it says to place them at a maximum distance of 200 meters and a minimum of 100 meters. This could be in the event of an accident or a breakdown. You are required to warn other road users. I'm going to open the reflector box. Let's do a sample setup. We take it out of the box. As you can see, it's right here. Look, the triangle shape has formed. Right there, I attach the end to a small button. Then I open up the legs. There are metal legs there, as you can see. They will now open to the sides. And the fundamental idea behind this is to carefully place it a little bit above the ground level so that it becomes much more clearly visible to everyone. This is how we open up our reflectors as well, as you can see in its final form. Our first material is a fire extinguisher. Let's pause here. It has a gauge. It shouldn't be in the red section. There's a needle there. You see a yellow needle. It needs to be on the green. This shows that it has enough pressure and is ready for use. At the same time, these also have a refill period. When the time on it expires, it needs to be refilled. Or you need a new fire extinguisher. It's very important. Believe me, a fire extinguisher can save lives in some situations. It can also save your car. Sometimes we see cars burning to ashes on the side of the road due to a small electrical short circuit. To prevent this situation, always keep a fire extinguisher in your vehicle. There's a seal right here. As you can see, it's yellow. Here, you also see a metal lever. When you pull the lever, the yellow seal will break. Right now, since it's sealed, it can't be used. After carefully removing it, you can then press this handle down or up, and by aiming the extinguishing gas from the black area at the very front directly towards the intended target, you can effectively put out the fire. At the same time, you've probably seen this before, most likely in first aid classes. When intervening in a fire, you aim at the center of the flames and make sure the wind is at your back. There is another compartment under the trunk mat. Let's take a look at what's in there now. We lift up the mat and get a general look at all the items underneath. Yes, we have a spare tire. We have a jack. On top, there is a tow hook. Under the jack, there's a lug wrench. There are 3 mechanical parts: the jack, the tow hook, and the lug wrench. And you also have a spare tire. There are 4 items you'll find under the mat. Now, let's also explain a bit about how to use these. By the way, make sure to check the air pressure of your spare tire from time to time. If you press down on the tire with your finger and notice it's deflated, you can see the valve area here on the left, what we call the valve stem. You can inflate it from there without even removing the tire. The tow hook is a tool like this. I had already opened its slot at the front of the vehicle. The tow hook is mounted in this way. In what situations is this used? If your vehicle breaks down or is involved in an accident, it allows your vehicle to be towed by another vehicle. We've got our tow rope. As we mentioned earlier, it came out of the traffic kit. We're going to attach our very own tow rope right here as well. We'll bring it over like this. It also has a small screw. Now we'll attach that. We'll screw it in and connect one end to the tow hook. We'll connect the other end to the vehicle that will tow you. Of course, you need to make sure these connections are tight and secure. That way, as you can see, it's fitted perfectly right now. Let's check the other end as well. You attach the other end tightly, making sure there's no slack, to the vehicle that's towing you. And this is how you've learned to use the tow rope and tow bar. Let's put the tow bar back. Now let's take our jack. These are generally also called scissor jacks. Let's watch here how it's opened. It has a metal rod like this. This rod is usually on the jack, but sometimes it can be separate. With that rod, you first loosen this. Or rather, we're opening it right now. We're raising the jack. As you can see, the middle part rotates and the jack moves upward. Yes, in this way you can also lower it by turning it in the opposite direction. Usually all vehicles have chassis, that is connection points underneath. These are for the jack to fit into. We align that area exactly on top of the jack. Let me show you that as well. There's a gap on the jack, a slot. This fits right into that area to prevent it slipping. So when you lift it to prevent the car from slipping off the jack, once it sits perfectly there, you'll see how the car rises as you raise the jack. Of course, the jack can be used for other purposes as well, but mainly it's for changing tires. Nowadays, when something happens on the road, we call a tire repairman. They come, they change it and so on. Of course, that's fine. But what if you get stuck somewhere inconvenient and your car's tire goes flat? How are you going to change it? You can't reach anyone and you have to do it yourself. This kind of situation could happen to you. In such a situation, knowing what to use and where becomes extremely important. Now, if you know how to use the jack, you can also change your car's tire by yourself. Now, let's move on to the lug wrench. At the very bottom here, we also see the lug wrench. Yes. Lugs are the bolts that hold the tire. Some vehicles have 4, while others may have 5. You need to remove these bolts when the tire is flat. The end of the lug wrench is already designed to fit those bolts. Look, if you apply a bit of force and turn a little here, the rest becomes easier, yes. Now, as you can see here, the lug wrench is touching the ground. That's why you have to remove and reattach it each time. You can also do this while the tire is in the air. However, it's better to make initial tight moves while the tire is on the ground. You can do the turning part later while the tire in air. The lug nut, similar to this. It's a screw like this, a threaded screw. Now we're putting it on in the opposite direction. Now we're going to tighten it. So after removing all 4 of these, you can easily take off the tire by pulling it toward yourself. Once you put on your new tire and attach these 4 bolts, your tire change is complete. That's it. Yes, as you can see, it's tightening now. As I said, in the final stages, you'll need to apply a bit of force. You might notice the car's tire moving. It's fine. And finally, there's the fuel tank. The hood release button is on the right side. On the left side, you'll see there's a fuel tank symbol and the fuel pump next to it. The symbol is already an international sign. When you pull it towards yourself, the fuel tank cap opens. This way, you can open the cap, insert the fuel nozzle, and by pulling the trigger towards yourself, you can fill up with fuel. Usually, inside the fuel tank cap on the right side of cars, it indicates what type of fuel the car uses, whether it's gasoline or diesel. If it's gasoline, use gasoline. If it's diesel, use diesel. This is very important. Mistakes do occur. Be very careful. It closes in the same way.